guys, welcome again. As I said, I was gonna do a Japan travel tips, well, according to in my opinion, right, and according to my experience. So I actually have my little notes here of everything that I can remember. The way I did it, we used Canva. I'm sure there's a bunch of other apps you can use, like your notes app, Canva, what activities you would like to do. First, if you're going to go solo, if you're going to go in a group, what kind of things you would like to see, do. Make sure you know how many days you're going to stay, like how many days you're going to stay, how many cities you're going to go to within that time frame. Like for example, we did 3 cities only, well, kind of 4, but I'll explain in a minute. So we did Tokyo, we did Kyoto, and we also did Osaka. But then, like towards the end, we also did Tokyo again, just because we thought it would be cool just to like spend our last days in Tokyo. So we spent a total of almost 2 weeks. Let me check. Looking at my calendar, and we spent November the 1st all the way to November 13th. Yeah, almost 2 weeks, literally 2 weeks. So we spread it out in a way that we could spend equal amount of days in each city, just so we can explore and, you know, try to do all of our activities, you know, in a timely manner. If you're by yourself, there's plenty of activities that you can do. I would suggest downloading the Klook app. Also, whenever you're writing down on your itinerary, I would suggest writing down like around what time of the day you're gonna go and the address of the place. Personally, I can't read Japanese, so I kind of sort of got my places mixed up while writing them down. But I guess I can show you images of how one of my pages in my planner looked like in Canva. So I'll literally put the day, let's say November the 1st, and I'll put 8 a.m., 12 p.m., and like 6 p.m. like in that time frame. And then I'll write, like, let's say breakfast at McDonald's, right? And then we're gonna walk 10 minutes and then 8 minutes from the bus station to the next site, let's say Team Labs, right? And then I'll write the address like that. So that, I don't know, that's just kind of helped myself, you know, guide ourselves like that. Researching restaurants, or just restaurants, of course. Restaurants, the food over there, it's not like America. We knew this, obviously. Personally, I did not like a lot of the foods that they had over there. I guess it's just they have like their own little flavor. I don't know how to explain it. Everything was amazing, but me personally, I did not like most of the food, like the Japanese food. So that's why we found ourselves going to a lot of, you know, fast food over there. But I would just say, what we did, we would look up the restaurants and we would look at the pictures, and be like, okay, you know, maybe this restaurant will be good, we'll add it to the planner. Or no, we don't think this restaurant will be good, you know. Do your research, look at the reviews. I would preferably, you know, I prefer looking at the American reviews, just so that, you know, it's our same people would probably like it, to have the same taste buds or as us, whatever. I would look at the photos, the reviews, the menu. Sometimes the menu are online, like on their own website or on the Google review. Always have like a second option in mind. Let's say we go to this restaurant, like Japanese restaurant, and we're like, oh, I don't know, I'm not feeling it. And then we go to another, like, you know, fast food place. Always gonna have a plan B and everything. Say whenever you're reserving your hotel near the bus or train stations, just so you don't have to walk a lot. I've seen people do this a lot, like especially if they're going in groups. They send in their suitcases ahead of time into the hotel. That way you don't have to be carrying them around or dragging them around. I honestly didn't know we could do that. I don't know, I guess that's a common sense thing. I lack common sense sometimes. But my boyfriend was like, we should have done that. We should have done that. It's because we have our suitcases and our big old, you know, carry-on bags, I guess. We had them carrying everywhere. And they were heavy. They were pretty heavy. I recommend doing that. Also, make sure you plan it or you reserve it months ahead. We had kind of an issue with one of the hotels in Tokyo. I don't know what was the deal, but they couldn't confirm it. And they usually always send you a confirmation email. If not, it's gonna be difficult to go to the hotel and be like, hey, I have this reserved, without the confirmation. So yeah, we were having trouble, but in the end we made it. So I guess it was just miscommunication. I'm not sure what happened. But yeah, I would say just highly recommend for you to have your hotels reserved in, you know, popular hotspots areas that you're gonna go to, or, you know, near a bus station or train station. Highly recommend that. Or if you have like a health condition, or you have trouble walking long distances, it's gonna help a lot that you have the bus stations, you know, near your hotel. Stations, again, just because we were talking about reservations in hotels, I wrote it down right next to it. Reservations or ticketing system is very important. A lot of restaurants do require you to have a reservation beforehand, because sometimes there's a long line. You'll be waiting there for like 2 hours, so just make sure you have a reservation already. That's why I said whenever you're planning, back to number one, whenever you're planning your itinerary, make sure you do look up all that stuff, because some will require reservation. If not, they will not let you in. Some require you to reserve, but right on the spot, whenever you're at the restaurant, they have like a little machine. I don't know, I didn't know this until I saw there was like a little machine, and you have to put, you know, how many people are gonna come in and dine, and what obviously the menu shows up, and what you have to pick, whatever you're gonna pick, and then it throws you like a little ticket. And whenever they call you in, while you're waiting, they call you in, and you have to show them the little ticket. That's how it worked on some people, on some restaurants. So we're like looking at each other confused, and there was beside us, there was like a group of, you know, men. They were looking at us to see how we did it, because they didn't know either. So it was really funny. We're like, do you guys know how to do this? Because we don't know. And they're like, no, we're trying to learn from you guys. And we're like, well, we're the wrong people here. You need help, I guess. You can always ask someone around, or we use a lot of Google Translate, Google Maps, and Google Translate is your best friend. If you're gonna wear kimonos, you do have to have a spot saved already. Just make sure you arrive in time, where fees can apply. You may think, oh my gosh, you guys are so stupid. We planned Universal Studios in Osaka, and we planned the aquarium in Osaka also. They're not that far from each other, but we were like, it's a good idea, you know, we can go both in one day, in time. And I've never been to Universal Studios, okay? Thing is that I didn't know, I think he didn't know either, that it was gonna take the whole day. I don't know. By the time that we were out of it, you know, the aquarium had closed, so we didn't really go to that. And I do regret that. I do regret that a lot. And I was like, damn, we should have scheduled that for another day. In Japan, let me just take a moment to breathe, and a moment of silence for my poor little feet that day, those days, those 2 weeks, because it was a lot of walking. Okay, I didn't expect that. Like, I expected it, but at the same time, I wasn't that ready. Like, I wasn't prepared for all that insane amount of walking. Make sure you have them close to wherever you're going, and close to the stations, because it is a lot of walking. For an example, so I asked, what was the average walking distance that you guys did? That's what I asked, that you guys did on a day. So most of them said 10,000 to 20,000, or, you know, others said 15,000 to 30,000, and I said 30,000. 30,000. That's crazy, because the most that I walk is 5,000 steps a day, and I still get tired. Obviously, I have a condition that doesn't allow me to walk for a long period of time, but that is a lot. 30,000 is a lot. A tiny person, because I'm 4'9", okay? So by the time that my boyfriend has taken one step, I have taken like 10 steps already, because he's just so big, so big. Let me show you how much I walked. Oh my word. You want to know how much I walked? 17,000 steps on the first day. Well, technically the first day, that's when we started our activities. So November 4th, 19,000, almost 20,000 steps. By this time I was already tired. November 5th, 12,000 steps. November 6th, 23. I think November 6th is when we walked a lot. I think that was in Tokyo. We were moving to Kyoto that day, I'm not sure. But that day, I think that was the most I did. 23,000 steps. Hello? November 9th, 13,000. Yep, around that time, still 13,000 until we left. 14,000, yep. I think the most for me that was that 23k steps. That was a lot for me, okay? That was a lot. I've never walked ever in my life that much. So yeah, can you imagine the excruciating pain that my poor little clubby foot was in? So my boyfriend had to go buy like a little ankle sock, I guess that's what you call it, and like a little ointment for pain, like for arthritis pain. But to avoid walking a lot, choose hotels near bus stations and train stations. Okay. What? Why? What? Uh-oh. Oh. No. Wear comfortable shoes. Wear comfortable shoes just for that same reason. Shoes that I would recommend. New Balance is really good. There's a few pink ones that I really want to get. Anyways, aside from the point, New Balance is really good. In Skechers, those I highly recommend. They have a lot of padded shoes. I bring like 3 or 2 pairs. Bus and train stations. Now I waited till the very end so I can, well, towards the end, so I can talk about this, because it's It's a lot. The train stations and the bus stations, all that system was confusing. I will not lie to you. It was very confusing. The first day we got there, we were lost. Okay, we had researched all the information that we needed to know about the stations, but we still kind of got confused just because there's multiple lines, multiple this, multiple that we have to get, specific tickets that we have to get for Shinkansen. They do have maps and routes. You can always ask for help, and they'll help you. They're not going to be mean. They'll be like, oh, okay, we'll come around here and, you know, I'll help you, or what, how can I help you? They'll help you. Up in Google, it says the JR Yamanote line in Tokyo and the Tokaido main line are among the most important heavily used railway lines in Japan, which connect to major cities, which the ones that we used a lot in Tokyo. So I know they have the Shinkansen, the Tokaido, oh wait, that's the same thing. And then the JR Yamanote line in Shinjuku Station. Those are the ones that are most important, and we did use those a lot. On the first day, if you get there, please make sure you have extra time so you can study it, I guess, or, you know, because it took us some time. We did like, I don't know how many rounds around the station because we were lost, and we were supposed to check in early at the hotel, our first hotel in Tokyo, but we kind of, you know, did not, just because we were confused and, you know, lost in the stations. The trains, they're pretty punctual, and the buses too. Only like 1 or 2 times did I see them, you know, be kind of late just by a few minutes, but they're pretty punctual, so just make sure you be there on time. Very important, because you do really need this. The trains have multiple options that you can use. Like I did research that, but I was still kind of confused when I first saw it right before going to Japan, but now I got the hang of it. But basically you can use Suica, which is what we call the IC card. Okay, just to explain what it is, IC cards in Japan are prepaid cards that use integrated circuits, IC, the meaning IC, to store money and make payments. The term IC card, which is similar, or in Japanese it means smart card, basically like your debit card or like an Apple card, but in this case it's the Suica, Passmo, all those. You just basically recharge them, and you can use them, you know, on the stations, on the trains and the buses. That's what basically we used, and I will show you. We got the Suica, which is the most preferred and most popular one. The most foreigners, and then we used it too. The other popular one is Passmo. I think it changed its looks already. Passmo, and then there's also what's it called, Isoka. You can't see it, but this is blue one right here, Isoka. So Suica, Isoka, and Passmo are the most popular ones that people, or, you know, Japanese use for the transportation. I think they all equally work the same way, but if you're not sure and you need to get a card, once you're at the station, that's where you get them, at the stations. Once you're at the stations, you ask that you need a Suica card or whatever card, and if you're not sure, you can always ask, which one do I need to get for this specific route that I'm taking. So yeah, that's pretty much it, and you obviously have to recharge it whenever you're going through the little lines, and they have a little machine so you can scan your card and then let you in into the station. I think it tells you, some tell you, I think, how much money or how many points you have inside. Money, not points. So that's what we did, and my boyfriend had it because I don't have Apple. I have an Android. My boyfriend had his on the app. So on the app you can also scan it. If you have the app, the Suica card or whatever card you have, they have the app, you can scan it on the machine and it'll let you in, you know, kind of like an Apple card on your phone. Just keep in mind that if you have it on your phone, you won't be able to use it physically. That's the problem that we had, because he thought that he could use it both, you know, the physical card and the phone, but we couldn't do that. So just keep that in mind. But yeah, that's pretty much it. You do need those cards to, you know, travel or to use the transportation there. About the Ubers or taxis, we did not use them. We only used them once just because we were desperate. We were really, you know, kind of had an emergency. So we used it, but I mean, I think it was like $4 just because we were like 10 minutes away from the hotel. I might be lying, 10 minutes or less from the hotel. We were at the Umeda Sky Station, Umeda Skyview, I guess that's what it's called, the building. We were there, and our hotel was like literally around the corner, but it was like 10 minutes or something just because of the traffic, you know. But that was like $4. And then some do accept the IC cards, some don't, I'm not sure. Another thing I forgot to mention, if you're traveling from one city to another, let's say Tokyo all the way to Kyoto, and that's like 3-4 hours, you cannot use these cards. You have to grab a ticket. So that's how they look like. These are the tickets that you need to travel long distances, like from Tokyo to Kyoto or Kyoto to Osaka. These are the ones that you need. Our first Tokyo hotel, and we were gonna move all the way to Kyoto, right? This is where we took the bullet train. That was like 3 hours. and we had our stuff. Obviously we were moving to the Kyoto hotel, but the thing is that we couldn't check in until 2 p.m. I think, or 3 p.m. Now that was kind of a trouble because we had activities already planned in that time frame, which is why I said you have to plan accordingly. You have to see what time you're checking in at the hotel, just so you don't have to wait and carry your stuff. Now this is where these come in handy. Coin lockers. Coin lockers, if you don't know, they are little lockers that are stationed around the, you know, the underground stations, the train stations, and you can just literally like get one for like $5. I don't know, I think that would be 100 yen. They even have like small or big sizes for you to put your stuff in. But yeah, those really saved our lives. They're really convenient. I'm that kind of person that feels like if I don't want to bother anybody, and I feel really like anxious, I get anxiety if I feel like I'm bothering someone. And the Kyoto bus is because we couldn't get to our hotel yet, and we couldn't really, you know, put our stuff anywhere. So we have our stuff, like, you know, I was literally hugging my carry-on bag like this. I had it like this and I had my luggage right beside me, and you know, there's elderly, you know, people, kids, and you know, they kept looking at us like they need to go somewhere, but obviously they didn't say anything, you know. But it's really important, just keep that in mind, I guess. Just put them in the coin lockers. They're literally everywhere, and they're pretty much easy to use. I looked it up according to Google. Depending on the size, I guess it's $5 to $10 or $3 to $10. No, for us it was like $5. Always carry your passports with you in case you get stopped, in case you need it. You may also need it for a tax exemption at the shops or stores. They may ask you if you want a tax exempt. They'll be like, okay, I need your passport, and then, you know, they'll give you a little sticker and, you know, whatnot. Even when you go to amusement parks or such places, they may ask you for your passport. They're gonna ask you for your passport. Make sure you have them with you at all times. Trash cans. There is no trash can around, literally. And for me, it was like really rare to see a trash can around. And then I'm very cluttery, klutzy, whatever you want to call it, clumsy. I have always trash in my hands, like I'm always eating gum or something. And I always have my trash, and I'm always looking for a trash can, and there was no trash cans around. So always carry a bag, a plastic bag, or just a purse, wherever you can put your trash, because you cannot be throwing trash or littering. I always carried my big bag, my plastic bag, like my big floral bag, you know, and I would put obviously my stuff in it, and then I had a separate little, you know, plastic bag where I would keep my trash. You know, finding a trash can in those streets was like collecting a very rare Pokemon. Just learn basic Japanese. I would say just learn basic Japanese, or, you know, if not, small phrases can help you. Duolingo helps. There's other few apps like that can help you with Japanese, or just, you know, look up YouTube videos that can show you you know, small phrases. I follow one lady that I think she's really good, and she helped me with a few, you know, beginner phrases in Japanese. So let me see if I can find her. Basically, it's this lady right here. Damn, you can't really see anything. So it's Nin Japanese. It's her. And also it's this one, Learn Japanese 101. Now this one, I think it's more like professional. So if you want more professional help, or, you know, to learn Japanese, it's this one.
Sometimes I just have an explosive amount of thoughts in my head, and I have to tell someone, like, okay, what about this? What would happen to this? Or theories, or conspiracy theories, or just questions that randomly pop up in my head, or what is this? What is that? Anyways, that's the point. On to the next point.
Mindful manners, and I say this because there's a lot of controversy, there's a lot of talk about Japan and, you know, whatnot. So what I'm fixing to say is literally solely on my experience only, like on Facebook groups, from friends, videos, TikToks, literally mentioning how eerie quiet is in like train stations or buses. Personally, in my experience, that is not true. That is not true. But calm down, breathe. They're not gonna like bite your head. For people sometimes exaggerate a little bit, but I mean, I will say that Japanese are quiet. They are, you know, quiet, very mindful, literally very demure, very mindful, conversating with each other. You know, it's not loud. They're like, you know, very mindful about their conversation, but they're not, you know, loud and stuff like that. So I mean, I'll definitely say it's not quiet, but it's, you know, peaceful. Like everybody has their own conversations. Like they'll be talking like this, not whispering, because this is this is conversating normally. Like how I'm talking to you normally, this is normal conversating. obviously after their 9 to 5 or their 8 to 4, it could get so full, like so swarming with people. And sometimes I'd be so scared because I'll have my backpack or my luggage and I would just become like this. I would squeeze myself and my boyfriend would like kind of like clasp my hand because you know I'm like 4'9", he's like so tall, and sometimes I would get lost in the crowd. Yeah, keep your short friends with you, don't lose them. And it'll be so packed. And, you know, I will tell you this, I don't know if you guys have seen videos of people like those, what do you call them, those civil workers, service workers, or the train station workers. They'll be trying to push the last person or everybody onto the bus just because they're so tightly packed. It's like a bunch of beans tightly packed into a container that the lid won't close. And I've seen that. That is not, I confirm that I've seen that happen, because I've been there and I've seen how even some people have fallen, and I get so scared. I get so scared because what if they fall underneath the train, or you know that there's like a little gap, what if they get stuck there? And then because the trains, as soon as the door closes, they'll zoom out, right? Right, and I'll be so scared and I'm like, oh my gosh, like I get so antsy. And then yeah, if you have anxiety, just get prepared, you know, because sometimes at that time, you know, in the afternoon after 4, you know, after work hours, there's so much people and you get so packed like a can of beans. And yeah, some people will be like this, some people will be so close to you, like, you know, kind of invading your personal space. But I will tell you this, that Japanese are very mindful at that. Even they try to like squeeze themselves too so that they don't hurt you or the other person, you know. So that's why I'm saying, if you can, try to send your luggage and your bags to the hotel in time, or put them in a coin locker. One of those, I did see a guy fall, and like I said, I was a little nervous and antsy because what if he got trapped, you know, underneath the train. But I mean, he was fine. Like he got up and gave like a glare like to the other person that kind of pushed him, you know, because if he just glared at him like this, he could have been hurt. You know, I'm just glad nobody got hurt. But it's just how that serious and how tight it gets inside the train stations. And sometimes the bus stations, so I have seen it there too.
You guys can see, but this yellow line you see right here and the arrow where the arrow is pointing, that's the line that you cannot step on, or you have to try to be behind it. That way nobody gets hurt. That's what the train station folks tell you. But like you see in this video, it was so packed that they could just not even step a foot back. So this is where the workers come and try to, you know, push the people and make them fit. Bless their hearts, they damn, a lot of people might have gotten hurt without them.
Always give your seat to the elderly, because you know you have to give their seats to the elderly. They're, you know, they have a huge culture rule to follow. Like, you know, pregnant ladies and elderly people have their own seats. Like if you see a pink seat or a seat with a sign on top, like a pink sign on top, that means that seat is reserved for the pregnant ladies, because you know they have a pass and they reserve that seat, you know, for obvious reasons, you know, it's common sense. And then there's other signs for elderly too. There's a specific designated space where only elderly can sit there. Now I've seen a lot of people sit there, foreigners. A lot of people just be like, oh, it's fine, you know, there's nobody there. Even if there's nobody there, I would say just be mindful. Personally, I feel like it's a crime if I sit there. Like me and my boyfriend would not sit there at all. Like if there was no seats, we would just stand up. I would just, even if there was no little clingy thing, I would just hold on to my boyfriend, just because I didn't want to sit in those spots because someone might need them, you know. So yeah, out of respect, we just, you know, we were very mindful of that. We didn't like to sit there on the pink seats or in the elderly seats. Like, I've seen foreigners sit in those seats and then elderly people would be like, no, you can't sit there. You know, no, you gotta sit over there, or they'll pull them. Like I've seen people being pulled or tugged, you know, by elderly people. So just be very mindful of that. If you're the type of person not to wear socks or to wear shoes without socks, don't. Like you have to wear socks, because in some places they will require you to take off your shoes. You know, it's part of their culture. Team labs, we did have to take off our shoes, obviously, just because it's part of the experience. We get to play with the water, or you know, walk around the water. So yeah, just make sure you have that. Now tattoos, about tattoos, I'd say people are fine. There's a lot of controversy, there's a lot of talk that Japanese hate tattoos or foreigners with tattoos. Personally, my experience is not true. My boyfriend has like a huge floral tattoo right here, so nobody really said anything to him. So let me tell you, an onsen is a hot springs and bathing facility, and they're a significant part of the Japanese culture. So if you, it's kind of like a sauna. I think that's how I like to think about it, a sauna. That's the only time where I think you would have to cover your tattoos for some reason. I've heard this and my boyfriend has told me this. We didn't go, personally, we didn't go to onsens, but if you go, just be mindful, I guess, and cover your tattoos. That's pretty much it. That's all I would say. Those are all my top 10 tips I have on, you know, traveling to Japan. Obviously everybody has their own opinions, everybody has their own experiences. This is solely based on my experience and, you know, my research. Our experience was pretty good. We had fun in Japan. I just would simply say, just do your research on your trip, and be, you know, just very mindful, I guess, of people there, and yeah, just have fun. That's all I can say. And like I said, I'm gonna add some pictures, I guess, of my itinerary. Or no, I added the link to the previous video. Yeah. I'm thinking. I mean, that's pretty much it. Oh, about the yen, you can convert it in the airports, and there, I think there's one more place where you can convert the money. I mean, for right now, all I can think of, my mind is going blank, but right now all I can think of is the airports. They do have a place where you can, you know, exchange the money, have fun, take a lot of pictures. That's all I can say. My experience was so awesome. My first time traveling outside of the country, so this is all the tips I can give you from the bottom of my heart, and I wish you the absolute best if you go to Japan. And hopefully I can do another one of these videos, but this time in South Korea. Hoping I can go in the next 2 years. So we'll see how that goes. And thank you so much. Make sure you like and subscribe and comment if you have any questions. I will answer to the best of my knowledge. And yeah, that's all. Happy Valentine's Day, and I love you guys.